Okay, we do have our quorum. I'm going live on the stream and recording. All right, Steve, you're good to go.
All right, thank you, Craig. The meeting of the Technology Advisory Group is called to order. Craig, will you take a roll call, please?
Okay, Chairman. Matthew Ave, Tom Bacon,
Present.
Mike Chickaroon, Kim Clark, Joe Curtis, Travis Cutright,
Present.
Chris Dalmelin,
Present.
Justin Fair,
Present.
Brad Hardig. I think we have Robert Fisher for Brad.
Yes, Robert Fisher's present.
All right, Steve Holiday,
Here.
Jim Keane, Tracy Mills, Phil Oslin, Brian Poole, Sasan Paridazadi, Andy Sandoval, Jeff Sheets, Greg Platax, Mark Wittenberg,
Here.
Ed Winfield.
Here.
Okay, we do have an exact quorum. If we lose anybody, we do lose our quorum.
Thank you, Craig.
Thank you.
Are there any other members participating who have not been called? Okay, please remember to mute your microphone when you are not speaking. I would like to welcome Justin Fair from the City of Goodyear as our newest member. I would also like to recognize Brad Hardig from the City of Scottsdale, as this will be his last meeting. Well, I don't think he's here. Brad has served on MagTag since 2010. And if you could pass along, thank you for all your support, Brad.
I will. Thank you.
Members of the public were asked to submit written comments related to this meeting on the MAG website within 1 hour of the posted start time for this meeting. They have also be able to send comments during the meeting through the chat function. Craig, do we have any public comments?
No, we do not.
Thank you. On to approval of minutes. Approval of the January 21st, 2021 meeting minutes. Could I have a motion to recommend the approval of the January 21, 2021 meeting minutes?
Motion, Travis.
And a second?
Second, Mark.
Okay, Craig, we have a motion from Travis and a second from Mark. Could you take a roll call, please?
Absolutely. Matthew Ave, Tom Bacon,
Proof.
Mike Chickaroon, Kim Clark, Joe Curtis, Travis Cutright,
Yes.
Chris Dalmelin,
Yes.
Justin Fair,
Yes.
Robert Fisher for Brad Hardig,
Yes.
Steve Holiday,
Yes.
Jim Keane, Tracy Mills. I know Tracy just joined us. Phil Oslin.
Yes, here.
Thank you, Tracy. Brian Poole, Sasan Paridazadi, Andy Sandoval, Jeff Sheets, Greg Platax, Mark Wittenberg,
Yes.
and Ed Winfield.
Yes.
All right, thank you, Steve. You're good to go.
Thank you. On to point number 4, Jobs Information Management System. Mark Wittenberg from the City of Tempe will lead a discussion on the Jobs Information Management System, JIMS. Go ahead, Mark.
All right. Well, good morning, all. I guess the first question is, who knows what JIMS even is? All right. There's a couple. So it's the Job Information Management System. It's been around, I think, since 2009, but it's an information sharing system that HR uses to put job descriptions, pay ranges out into a single system for comparison. The system was originally written in VB. It was converted to .NET, but we're at the point where it really needs a facelift. And so that's what I wanted to talk about today is Tempe's owned this for quite a while, but we're definitely looking with all the regional partnerships and with the data sharing going on at opportunities possibly to make this a more regional effort. If you'd like, I can give you like a quick demo of what the system does. I believe I can share my screen. Oh, Craig, if you could.
Yeah, you're good to go, Mark.
Okay. And then I have to ask the question is, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can. Jim's 3.0.
Because that's what we always ask, right, in all the meetings. But if you look on the right-hand side, here are all the different active contributors. But I'm going to go over to the stats section right here, which is when was the last time that the data was actually updated. And as you can see, there's quite a few agencies that have updated their data, but then there's also several that haven't in quite a while. So there's a couple of cities that have dropped off of this. So that would be kind of one of the first things, is making sure that we could get the marketing out there. You have the ability, actually anybody can get into this. It's jims.tempe.gov. And without a login, you can go in and do research. So for example, if I wanted to say, like, let's look at information communication systems, we could run a search. And here are all the different IT jobs, the pay ranges, and the information when it was last updated for each of the participating cities. It's a pretty simple system, but like I said, one of the things is just needs an update. The other thing that's been requested from many of the HR departments is the ability to do a bulk upload. That's the one that really caught us of, okay, this is becoming a more major upgrade than we originally planned. So my thought was today to open up a discussion. What do we think? Do we think this would be a good opportunity for regional sharing? Does anybody want to partner with City of Tempe to maybe take a look at this and see what can be done?
Mark?
Yes.
Mr. Chair, this is Audrey with MAG. I think that we could work with you on that if that were the kind of feeling of the committee.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
I've asked our development manager to kind of sit into data, to listen in, and if the committee wants us to go that direction, then we would have him meet with your staff and see what we can figure out. But is this still something that everybody wants?
Who are the primary users? Is it HR, is it IT, or is it just a mix of everything?
Mostly HR, but we've seen, I know I've used it for research to just see, as we're talking about reorganizations, to be able to look at what other cities have, their job descriptions and their organization. But I would say the primary user would be human resources for doing salary comparisons.
This is Tracy. I actually have used it quite a bit when I am looking at, job descriptions or comparing job descriptions. I know our HR department also will refer us there as well. So I think it is very useful seeing everything in one place.
Great, thank you, Tracy. Any other thoughts, comments, partners? All right, so Audrey, I guess it sounds like a next step for us would be to get together with our developers, your developers, and just take a look at.
Absolutely. I'd be happy to do that.
Definitely share our code.
I'll pop you an email and I'll copy John on it and you, so that we can kind of put everybody into communication.
Okay, sounds great.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? None heard. Thank you, Mark. This item was on the agenda for information and discussion only. Well, it does sound like we have an action, Craig. City of Mesa Smart City Initiatives. City of Mesa Deputy CIO Henry Meyer will give an update on a couple of their smart city initiatives, building automation and CBRS for underserved connectivity. Gary?
Thank you. So I'm not going to, share anything, or it's going to be more of a informal discussion. But two major areas of the smart city plans that Mesa's been undertaking over the last couple of years are in ways to save the city money, for one, on energy costs, using our building automation and HVAC control. Over the last year with the pandemic, that had an extra emphasis to it as we had that extra control over the HVAC systems, being able to have more fresh air going into buildings where the public was coming in, being able to add plasma filters and other add-on devices to our HVAC systems to help alleviate concern about airborne virus in the areas. But also having that control opens up a lot of additional capabilities for smart cities in general. So what we're undertaking now is building onto the system that we have in place for HVAC control, which was from Trane, the air conditioner maker. The system is called Trane Ensemble, and we're building off of that to, along with Visionaire lighting, to add to it parking lot lighting control, as well as sensor capability, public Wi-Fi, and and cameras over to do parking detection over those same parking lots. So what was just a single system that by itself had a lot of good use, saving energy on our city buildings, we're adding on to that and adding a whole host of capabilities. Another angle to that as well, building on the earlier HVAC use case, will be having that same HVAC system respond to the outdoor air quality. So having those sensors, say a PM 2.5 sensor, feed directly into the ensemble system, can tell the interior system to change the mix of outside air versus inside air in response to, say, an air quality event. So some of those capabilities are we are kicking off this month, and we'll be building that out in the next few months. The other item that we mentioned was CBRS. So it's an acronym that I don't know if many of you are familiar with yet, but it's gained a lot of traction again in the last year with the pandemic. It's a private LTE cellular network. So the system, it's essentially like a carrier cellular network. You put up towers or antennas on existing towers and assets around our communities, and you are able to provide a data service out upwards of a mile range from every antenna, which is obviously has advantages over traditional Wi-Fi deployments for access to the network. It's high speed, so your any given endpoint is 20 plus megabit. Even in some cases with some devices, you can get north of 100 megabit, which is now you're talking serious broadband. So we are deploying a demo of this, and we'll be utilizing it in partnership with Mesa Public Schools to target the underserved communities where they're currently lending out hotspots from the carriers and paying a monthly fee. Just in the past year, with the remote learning being such a big ticket item, this creates a sustainable model to address that digital divide that doesn't involve those long-term, large-scale, monthly fees. But wait, there's more. The system can be used beyond that. So the public safety aspects of it are very great. So the systems can integrate with a push-to-talk radio system. So we have our existing P25 system for the Topaz Regional Wireless Collective that can pretty easily, from what we see on paper, integrate with this and have push-to-talk go directly from a city-owned cellular network to the radios that are in the hands of our public safety personnel, both city and school and any other agency that's nearby. So that's just one of many use cases. If you can imagine having a privately owned cellular network, opens up a lot of possibilities for, say, the Internet of Things, or controllers and cameras that we currently have out there and are tied to where we have fiber or we're paying for an existing cellular service. So it's a very interesting prospect. We're putting out a demo, and again in partnership with Mesa Public Schools, to target it to the underserved communities. And we're working with the Connective Regional Smart City Consortium to turn this into a template that can be reproduced throughout the valley. With that, that's all I have.
Thank you. Are there any questions from membership?
Mark, City of Tempe. This is very timely because we're having those same discussions about the digital divide and how do we provide those services. One of the things that we've done is hand out Chromebooks to those kids in need. But again, how do you get the data to them? So I love this idea. Have you looked at partnerships with any vendors to be able to really roll this out at scale? Or what's your thoughts to move the pilot into production?
Yeah, I didn't want to name names yet. We're evaluating several vendors. I mentioned we're deploying a particular demo that with one vendor that offered to do it free of charge. So we're letting them. And that particular vendor integrates the most easily with our radio systems, which would be an interesting prospect. Our neighbor to the south, Tucson, actually used CARES Act dollars to do a very similar deployment. And we talked to them just recently, and if my notes are correct, they have already 50 antennas up around their town. It was very fast to deploy, and over 1,000 endpoints loaned out to the community. So that's very promising, and it scales pretty well as long as you have the locations to put up the antennas. And the partners to scale it out to provide that support, there are several options in that space. So it's a very active marketplace. I'll put it that way. So there's definitely competition there, and we'll be, as I said, shaking that out a bit with our demos and providing that report through the Connective.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, we have some of the same issues here in Tolleson, and we've kind of been scratching our heads. We've probably done what everybody else has done, is hand out hotspots and Chromebooks and things of that nature, but there's kind of only so far we can take that. So I'll be interested in watching the follow-up with this. So thank you very much. Are there any other questions?
This is Justin. I was just would mention that the Tucson, they actually released a white paper on that within the last few weeks, because that's one of the things we've been looking at in Goodyear. Is we're kind of like Steve, you mentioned, same struggles I think as everybody, but where do we look at? What are our next steps? And so that may be something to share with the group for those that at least that are interested in that. So thanks for sharing, Harry.
Yeah, thank you. Any other comments, questions? Perfect. Thank you so much, Mr. Meyer. This item was on the agenda for information and discussion only. Moving on to number 6, agency project update. Committee
This is
members
Ed.
can
I'd like to make
discuss.
comments.
Go ahead.
Thanks. This is Ed from Maricopa County. So this is a little bit tangential to what you guys were just talking about with the cellular, and that is the advent of this new American Recovery Act that's going to be bringing funds to a lot of us, if not all of us, directly. And one of the categories they call out in there is monies for water, sewer, and broadband. So I know there's been a lot of attempts at broadband, a lot of action on broadband, a lot of different projects over the years, different political organizations getting involved. I think there's still active projects in this area, but with this money coming at us and from the dollar levels I'm seeing, including the schools getting on the order of $2.5 billion, I think broadband is going to maybe finally be able to take hold, as a regional activity. And you guys may know a lot more about this than I do. I'm not a student of broadband. I'm aware of it from the political updates and that kind of thing. But I would just have us keep our eyes on that and understand how that might be coming together in a more definitive way based on what I think will be a substantial amount of funding that could be thrown at that and could bring that service to the region in some big way. So I just wanted to note that. And again, I know there's a lot of activity, a lot of projects of the type you described. We did the same thing. We sent out 30,000 Chromebooks and 29,000 hotspots to schools. We did all kinds of things like that. So we're in the mix as well. But the one thing I did note in this new funding was this concept of the broadband. So anyhow, just something to keep your eyes on and understand how that might start to play out.
All right, thank you,
Open
Ed.
for discussion.
Thank you. Okay, committee members now can discuss current agency projects that may be of a regional interest to the committee. Again, this is for information and discussion only. Does anybody have anything to contribute?
This is Mark, City of Tempe. The first thing is Travis, when are you doing your building automation with Train? Because we're doing the same thing. So I want to find out who's going to win here.
Well, if you guys just started it, you're behind. Let's just put it that way.
Oh, we haven't just started it. No, I think that's awesome. And I think just the energy savings alone is going to be phenomenal.
Harry was instructed not to let Tempe win at anything. So
right. Oh, that's funny. We'll see, Harry. We'll have to compare notes. I would say, I don't know if a lot of cities, I brought this up before, but we're continuing to move forward on really working with the mayor, his task force on rethinking policing. And so we're starting to examine our 911 center, how we distribute calls, and how to partner with human services. But as part of all this, we've had a company come in and help us work with the police department to come up with a bold vision for police data transparency. We're going to be putting out an RFP onto the street, hopefully in the next month or two. As you all know, that procurement process is always fun. But the whole idea here is to really work with IT, with the police department, to come up with those policies and how to collect the data that we may not be collecting today that our community would like to see. So I was just curious if any other cities are really embarking on any kind of data discussion and data transparency with their police departments, or have had experience with companies coming in and helping with that, just rethinking how we do business.
So I don't know that we've had specific discussions with our police department, but what we do is we meet every 2 weeks with our police, the police administrator that's over their tech division, and that, and we're always collaborating on things and working together. And so I don't know that we've got anything specific to data and transparency. Harry might chime in.
Our open data group is in separate conversation with PD as well, and they now have dedicated personnel that are just creating and cleansing data to make it available in the open data portal. So it is an ongoing effort.
Great, thank you both.
Thank you. Do we have any other projects? Okay, none heard. Request for future agenda items. Are there any requests by membership for an item on a future agenda? Okay, none heard right now, but if anything comes up, please let Craig know and he'll make sure it's agendized. All right, Craig, could we summarize the task assigned during the meeting?
Thank you, Chairman and members of the committee. MAG, on agenda item 4, MAG staff will reach out to Tempe in regards to gyms. Justin, I've just reached out to you in regards to the Tucson white paper. You should have just received an email from me. I will get that sent out to the committee. And I will be working on the May agenda. If any of you have any projects that you would like to highlight, please definitely let me know and we can add those to a future agenda. And that does conclude my item. Thank you.
Thank you, Craig. The next meeting of MAGTAG is scheduled for Thursday, May 20th, 2021 at 9 a.m. Please note the earlier start time. We had a conflict with the RWC meeting. And with that, could I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
And a second?
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion from Travis and a second from Tracy, and the MAGTAG meeting is officially adjourned. Thank you, everybody, for your time this morning.
Thanks.
Thanks all.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Craig.
Thank you,
Thank
Steve.
you
My
all.
pleasure.